So I'm Eugene Driscoll, and I'm here with Dr. Tracy, the superintendent of the Derby School District. And we're just having a conversation about the proposed budget for next year. And my
favorite topic.
And everybody in Derby's. My first question is just, I'm a Derby resident, and I went to that first meeting where you unveiled it February 3rd. And I know you had two painful budget procedures the last 2 years. I left that meeting, it was almost depressing to hear what was taking place in Derby in terms of layoffs, plus a fairly decent spending increase, or at least budget-to-budget percent spending increase. Can you just give us the flavor of what putting together this budget was like for you this year?
Yeah, well, it is a challenge. Just to give people some numbers, the budget that I proposed to the school board back early in February did call for spending of about $19 million, which is an increase of about $1.255 million, or about 7%. And people's initial reaction was, gee, that's a big increase. And then on top of that, I also had to explain that even to get down to that number, my plan includes the elimination of 9 positions within the school system, 6 of which are teaching positions. That's, in a small city, that's about 4.5% of our faculty. So, gee, why is it that on the one hand you're saying you're cutting, but on the other hand you're asking for a significant increase? And the reason for that is that Derby has historically, from my perspective, historically underfunded its public schools. Not just in the last year or two, but historically. We run about 10% below the average per pupil expenditure in the state. And another way to think about that is if Derby was spending just at the state average, forget about those Gold Coast towns that can spend even more, but if we were just spending at the state average, we would actually have about $2.8 million a year more to work with than we do, to have the kind of staff we'd like to have, the kind of class sizes, the kind of technology, curriculum development, all the things that a self-respecting school system should be providing for its students. We would have, all that much more money. So when you're in a position like that, and you're always coming off of an insufficient base, if you will, whatever you ask for is going to look like a larger percentage. People will occasionally say, well, gee, in town X, they're only asking for 2% increase. How come you can't get by with 2%? And my answer to that is, if you give me the per pupil spending level of town X, I'll gladly take a lower increase. So I think we have to be careful not just to look at, well, what's the percentage increase, but also look at what's the base spending level in the school district. What percentage of the city's total revenue is being devoted to the schools? In Derby, it's about 50%. A little bit less in some years, a little more in others. That's on the low side. Most communities in the state spend considerably more than half of their town budget. Education tends to be the single biggest investment that a community makes. It's every kid in town, every day of the work week, engaged in an important service. So
basically, you're saying that because of traditional underfunding, you have years of underfunding, are you at the point now where, are we going to see every year now budgets with an increase along with cuts?
Well,
do you think?
I think that's certainly been
along with teacher cuts. I'm saying.
I hope not, but in my experience, this is the 4th budget that I've been associated with. I've been here about 3 years. I came just in time to present the 2008-2009 budget, and in that budget year, we lost our assistant superintendent, the person who oversees all the professional development and curriculum work, which is designed to make sure we have a good plan of instruction for every subject and every grade level, make sure we're assessing student work properly, make sure we're training our teachers so that they can keep up with the latest events. We no longer have anybody who is able to pay attention to that. Our special ed director has picked up some of it. I've tried to pick up some of it. Our principals have picked up some of it, but it's not being done in a focused, intensive way as it should be. So that was 2008-09. In 2009-10, we lost all of our librarians, we lost some teachers, and we lost a dozen paraprofessionals, support staff who work with individual students who have special needs. Last year we did not lose any teachers by way of layoff, but we did lose security and custodial personnel, and we wiped out effectively the curriculum development and professional development budget. So we cut maintenance, everything else but teachers. This year even before the school board has voted, and certainly before the city has voted, I'm already proposing staff cuts while still asking for more money. This all traces back to the traditionally very meager level of funding that the school system has enjoyed over the years.
Okay.
So anytime if you look at it from the point of view of what do the students need, and what does the school system need in order to function in a responsible fashion, then inevitably, against that very low base, you're going to be looking at an aggressive increase.